Hi, in this video I'm gonna show how to troubleshoot the reverb in a Peavey Classic 30. The troubleshooting of a reverb is basically the same whether it's a Peavey, a Fender or whatever amp you may have. In this Peavey Classic 30 from '92, the reverb stopped working a few years back, but I didn't really have the time to look into it. But recently I did and found that there were not very much helpful videos on this subject, so I thought I'd put one together myself. First I thought that the fault was inside the amp. I thought that the circuit driving the reverb tank, either the send or the return part of the circuit, was faulty, but I took the amp apart. Not very easy on this amp, unfortunately, but I couldn't find anything wrong within the amp. In this specific amp there's a op amp driving the circuit, a dual operation amplifier, and I thought that that was the problem, that the operation amplifier was blown. So I changed it, but nothing happened, no difference. So I turned to look at the input and output signal of the circuit, and using the oscilloscope I could see that there actually was a signal on the send part of the circuit, and when I rattled the reverb tank in the bottom of the amp I could hear the reverb, which then means that the return circuit was actually working. So when I knew that the input-output circuit of the amp was actually working, I understood that something must be wrong within the actual tank. And the reverb tank in the Peavey, as is in Fenders, usually comes in a bag like this in the bottom of the amp. This is very dusty. And the reverb tank is within this bag, so I just unscrewed the bag from the bottom of the amp and took out the reverb tank, and here's the tank. The tank contains two springs and a transducer and a pickup. The transducer and the pickup are basically the same thing, just a little bit different parameters on the coils. So it marks input here and output on the other side. When reading some articles on the internet, I understood that there might be problems with the wiring to and from the reverb tank. That is quite a common problem. That is, the connectors, these small RCA connectors, get corroded. But that was not the issue in this case. If these are corroded, you may just use some electronic cleaner and spray them, and they might work again. But even easier than cleaning the connectors and see if it works again is actually to measure the reverb tank or the transducer coil and the pickup. And that is done using a multimeter set to ohm measuring. What you do basically is that you take your test pins and just measure the resistance between the center and the ground of the transducer and the pickup separately. That is actually the pickup, this is transducer. So when I measured the coils, the input and the output side, there was around 200 ohm resistance on the output side, the pickup side, and infinite resistance, that is no connection whatsoever, on the input side. And here should be around 50-60 ohms, so this transducer is blown, has to be replaced, or actually the tank has to be replaced. As far as I know, you can't replace just the coil. In order to test the return circuit of the tank, you simply turn the amp on, some volume and some reverb, and just rattle the tank. And since it makes that noise, it means that the return of the send return circuit in the amp is actually working. If the return circuit was not working, it wouldn't make this sound. So that's how you know that part works. In order to test the output part of the reverb circuit, that is the send part, I need an oscilloscope, and I attach the ground of the test lead on the oscilloscope to the chassis ground. I use one of the effect loop connectors just to get a grounded point there, and the other clip of the test cord I connect to the RCA connector's center. And make sure you don't short circuit the RCA connector with the test clip. I found that measuring between the center of the RCA and the ground of the RCA didn't do much, so I actually tested like this instead. And then I just strum the guitar. It's connected. Turn up the volume a bit. And I can see on the oscilloscope that I have a signal. So next step for me is to order a new reverb tank and put it in the amp and hopefully do the trick. So, a little addition to the previous video. Just basically minutes after finishing the other video, I made a final measuring of the transducer coil in the reverb tank, and when I grabbed one of the leads, it turned out that the green one was actually had come apart. It's attached between a small metal tongue here, and because of the movement when moving the amp, whatever, this very thin wire had broken. So that was actually the reason I didn't get a reading when measuring the coil. So now I'm gonna do a final test and see if the reverb is actually working. So that's all for now. I hope this video helped you somewhat in the troubleshooting of your amp, and good luck with the work on your amp. Bye.